Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So one of the very first videos that I ever uploaded was on this guy, the Orange OR15, and I wanted to kind of revisit this guy and see what other kind of creative possibilities we can explore with this simple one-channel amp. So if you haven't seen the first video I uploaded on this amplifier, you should check it out. I go through all the simple basic sounds you can get out of it. A couple of things that I wanted to cover in this video that I didn't in the previous one is how this acts as a pedal platform. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to how I set the amplifier up to get the best results in that fashion. And then we're going to go ahead and play with some dirt pedals hitting the front end of the amplifier. I got a pedal board down here at my feet. We're going to see how it sounds like with a Friedman BE-OD Deluxe going into it, as well as a TC Electronics Spark. And then we got a cool little octave fuzz by Pigtronix. So we're going to go through all those sounds and see how the amplifier reacts with them. And then a little later on in the video, I'm going to try reamping this guy. So it's only 15 watts, but I got, sitting below it, a Synergy Syn 5050 power amp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the preamp, just the preamp of the OR15, out into the power amp and bump it up to 50 watts and see what kind of tonal differences we get. Obviously there's going to be a volume difference, but that's not going to come across too much in the video. We are going to get more headroom. Probably will be some subtle differences in the tone as well. The Syn 5050's got a presence knob and a depth knob that really allow you to fine tune and tweak the overall power amp tone. So I think it would be really cool to see how this amp sounds like going into that. But first let's go ahead and set this up as a pedal platform. So basically I got all the EQ controls set basically around noon, and then the important thing is to get the volume at about 3 o'clock or so, just crank it up way up there. And then the gain knob is barely cracked open. It's like at 1.5 or 730 if you want to look at it that way. And it sounds like this. So it's still a little bit of grit in there, but pretty clean, kind of like edge of breakup kind of tone. Let's add some chorus to that just for fun. Some delay. So first I'm going to run the TC Spark into it. The TC Spark is really cool because you got 3 different modes on there that you can use. It's got a fat mode, a clean mode, and then a mid boost mode, which is like a tube screamer kind of thing. Right now I'm using it on the clean mode, which is kind of the most transparent kind of tone that you can get out of it. And that's really all I want out of an overdrive. It's really just to kind of like just give me more of what I already have from the amp. The Spark does that really well. Alright, let's get a little gainier. Let's throw the Friedman BE-OD Deluxe at it. got a very squishy kind of feel to it. It's pretty cool. Alright, and let's get even nastier with the Pigtronix Octave Fuzz. That real nasally kind of octave harmony. I love it. Okay, so next I wanted to run this guy into the Syn 5050 power amp, and I'm going to really quickly take you through the signal chain and show you exactly how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to set it up. Okay, so this is the signal chain of how I'm hooking up the OR15 into the Syn 50 amp. I got the guitar going into my TC electronic noise gate, and that's going into the pedal board. The pedal board is going into the input of the OR15, and then on the back of the OR15 I'm taking a 1/4 inch cable out of the send of the effects loop, and that is going into the Syn 50 power amp, and then the power amp is being loaded down into the Torpedo Captor X, and that is going out to the interface, and that is what you're hearing. Now also, I should mention, I am also loading down the OR15 by hooking it up to this Mesa 1x12 speaker cab down here. Otherwise, the amp will blow up because it doesn't have an internal load. But then I'm also muting the signal of the OR15 coming out of the cab by sticking this 1/4 inch jack into the return of the effects loop. And that's just so I don't go deaf with the sound coming out of the cab in the room. Alright, so now that we got that set up, we got the preamp of the OR15 going into the Syn 50 power amp, and it sounds like this. So the settings on the OR15, just for reference, I got the treble at about 1 o'clock, the mid right at noon, and the bass is rolled off to about 8 o'clock. Volume is right at noon, and the gain is at about 11 o'clock. Let's go ahead and play around with the presence and depth knobs on the Syn 50 and see what that does. So tweaking the presence first. And here's the depth. It seems like the depth knob is really dependent on how much bass is going into it, so how much bass is in the preamp. So let's see, if I were to add a little bit more bass on the OR15, gets pretty woofy. Then here's the cool thing, we can attenuate that with the depth knob on the power amp. I kind of like it with the bass on the OR15 set pretty low, and then the depth knob on the power amp set at around noon or just below noon. Let's scoop the mids a little bit on the OR15. Add a little bit back in. I'm liking this. It definitely gives the amp a bigger feel. So I'm going to go ahead and play you a couple audio samples back to back. The first one is just the OR15 by itself as is with its EL84 power section. And then the next one is going to be the OR15 going into the Syn 50 power amp. And it will be interesting to see if there's any kind of tonal differences that come across just through the recording. Let's check it out. And really quickly, before we wrap this all up, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of the clean sound of the Orange now that we got it running into the power amp. So this is how it sounds like with the preamp of the OR15 going into the Synergy power amp. And here it is how it sounded like with just the Orange OR15. And finally, let's run a couple pedals into the Orange now that it's hooked up to the power amp. Here's how it sounds like with the Spark. First, let's just hear the regular clean sound. And now here's the Spark. And here's the Friedman. It seems like the pedals become a little bit more touch sensitive when they're running into the Orange as it's hooked up into the power amp. Alright, so there you have it. There's the OR15 revisited. And let me know if you'd like to see any more videos with this guy, the OR15, or any more videos featuring the Syn 5050 power amp. I kind of want to take my 25 watt boogies and reamp them through the Syn 5050 power amp and see what kind of sounds we get. I think that'll be kind of interesting. But until then, that's all for now. See you next time.